We are now live with another sex talk. This is episode 11 with Marley and Jane. Just waiting for her to hop on so that we can get started. If you tuned into the last sex talk, it was just last week, and we spoke about amazing things with Rebel. This week, we are speaking with Marley, and we're going to talk about the way sensuality and sexuality manifests in her life. I'm really excited about this conversation. I feel like it's always really cool to talk to different artists and different creatives about their sex lives and the way that they decide to navigate the world with sex and sensuality, because a lot of people don't talk about that, and a lot of people don't really, I guess, understand or really think about the ways that they manifest their own sexuality into their work or into their brand or into their livelihood, into their relationships. So I am all about talking about all those things. So let me go ahead and invite Marley. She should be hopping on any second now. And um let me see where she is. There she
Hi,
is.
I'm sideways. Hold on, let me fix this. They're like, hey, Marley, what's up? Hold on. And no. Oh, wait, no, I got it. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you got it. Yay!
Cool.
See if I can turn you up.
Now I'm here. Now I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hey, girl, hey!
What's Let's have TikTok.
Welcome!
My thing goes up.
Period.
Lift up.
Don't get me started, girl.
Okay, that's what we're here to do. We're here to get started.
We're here for all the smoke and the tea, like Carisha Please says. You want to smoke?
Period. Period. What's going
So, how
on?
are you? How art
I'm
thou?
good. I'm great. Busy as usual, working and such. But
As
I'm
always.
great. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling grateful. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I had a very cool day. I did work, but I also went to the park and I fell asleep and I read a book, and it was always nice underneath the sun. It's always nice underneath
That's
the sun. And I
lovely.
haven't been to
So
a park and kind of like spent time there by myself in a long time. So I'm feeling really good.
fire.
Solo painting with a spliff.
Oh.
Hey.
Is
So
it cold in Atlanta yet?
it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's between 68 and I guess like 85.
It's
Um,
a little breezy.
it's pretty sunny, and then it'll feel like cool in the shade. But it honestly feels like the best Miami Beach weather in December. Like that's what it reminds me of. So
Mm-hmm.
I love this weather. And I didn't really think that I was a fall person, but maybe I am. Maybe I'm an all element and all season person, but I just love summer so much because it requires me to not wear no clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. Period.
You already know I
Here
like
for
it.
the sun. Right.
It's definitely raining here, so
Mm-hmm. The
dodging the
storm.
hurricane. Yeah,
Yes.
it is a brewing. So
Yeah. It was kind of like starting up when I was there, and then it just continued
right, took a
when I
little
left
break, and then it was like, all right, wait,
and came
came
back.
right back, circle
Yeah.
back.
Well, I hope you're staying safe and everybody's staying safe and wishing Mommy well, but it's the Magic City, so yeah, I got some fairy dust surrounding the shores.
A little sprinkle.
Love. All right. Well, let's begin. And I
Let's
definitely want to start
begin.
off with you introducing yourself. Tell us your name and who you are briefly. We're going to get into some of the other work that you do, but just a little brief introduction, maybe like a minute, to explain to people who you are and what do you do.
Okay. So my name is Marley. Hi, y'all. I also go by MJ. So I am a musician, entertainer, model. I sing, I rap, I write songs. I do content on social media, take pictures, do skits. I also help with or co-host a podcast called The Box Podcast. shameless plug, you know what I'm saying? We be talking about everything. So
Period.
definitely check us out there. The link is in the bio. I also make sea moss gel. Also in the bio. Click that.
Period.
And I manage social media and I'm a music mentor with Guitars Over Guns. So full ass plate.
All the things. She does
All
all
the
the
things.
things. Definitely hit her up for some CMOS. Definitely hit her up for some music. Content is crazy. Podcast is lit. She's here. She's here
You
for
know
the
what I'm saying? Hey Oliver.
Well, let's just get right into it. First
Let's do
question
it. Let's
on the
do it.
list is, what is your relationship to sex?
Okay. So I thought about this. My relationship with sex is ever evolving. I remember feeling very sexually free at one moment, and then feeling kind of like insecure about it
Mm,
for a while, especially like because I'm bisexual, and so like certain spaces with women particularly, like I had experiences with people who, you know, just were different sexually. And I'm kind of more of a submissive person, but I had to like tap into like being more of an initiator and aggressor, especially with women, because, you know, women are also submissive.
mm,
So, so that was something that really challenged me, and I would say like it kind of changed the nature of my relationship with sex, and taking a little bit more of like a dominant kind of like persona on, which was freeing. So I say ever evolving because there's just so much to learn. Like I feel like I'm always learning different things, and like instead of being insecure or feeling, you know, being made to feel that way, I've been more just open to receiving like different ways to tap into my sexuality. So ever evolving.
Hmm. So you said that because of your relationship with women, it changed the way that you would approach relationships with sex in general, just because you had to be like more assertive or just be the leader in those ways. That is very
Definitely.
interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed the same thing with me as well.
Yeah.
What would you say was the biggest developments of your sexual life, like over time?
Um, biggest development. I guess just like fucking with a strap.
Let's talk about specifics.
I guess that's all. I mean, that's the image that comes to my head. Like, um, yeah, just taking on like that like
More
real like
masculine,
dominant like top
dominant role.
role. Um, and I would say maybe like getting into kink a little bit, like like exploring that. That was kind of like on my own, just like going to like parties or like you know, talking to people like you about like different kink experiences and learning about that. And that's definitely something I want to try. But yeah, like taking on that like top role, like having like a girl like or a woman kind of like submit to me, that was very different. So I was like not ready, but I'm used to being in relationships, whether they're with men or women, being like the submissive one,
Hmm.
and having a relationship kind of like open my eyes to the like the ways that, you know, the different ways that women can communicate sexually. It's not always like the stud has to be this like, you know, this hard touch me not, which I've had experiences with,
Hmm.
and you know that they're feminine as well and can tap into their femininity and want to tap into their femininity and
Hmm.
be touched and be, you know, like caressed and treated like a lady.
Like a lady. That
Yeah.
sounds very interesting. Do you think that if it wasn't for your relationship with women, you would have a, hmm, I feel like you just answered this question, but I don't know if you can add any more explanation to, if it wasn't for your relationship with women, would you have been conditioned to have a certain relationship with sex?
I think I would be more of like what I guess people will call like a pillow princess, right? Like I've learned in my experiences, especially with women, that like women do have to work at sex for it to be enjoyable, and
Mm-hmm.
not just like kind of like lay there and let it happen. I have a very strange relationship with sex, and so I feel like, or I had a very strange relationship with sex in the beginning, and it just felt like something that I was supposed to just kind of like sit back and enjoy, but it's just lack of knowing what it really was about, you know. And like obviously with experience came like the realization that like yeah, you gotta throw that shit back, you know what I'm saying?
Period.
Period. And, or sometimes, you know what I'm saying, stroke it too. So like yeah, I guess having that experience really like helped me tap into like ways that I want to contribute, because I feel like I'm also a pleaser, and like lack of knowing kind of kept me from like
Being pleased.
yeah, or actually like contributing and making sure like my partner is pleased as well. Like being in a relationship with a touch me not for like 5 years in the beginning of my sexual journey was really it was really weird, because like it was just more like, let me do it, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to, like, you know, like I don't want you to touch me, I don't want you to, you know what I mean, like I don't want you to give me pleasure. And so that really did put a weird like strain, I think, on my sexual relationship, because I didn't really get to explore those things with my partner. And so it kind of just put it in my mind that that's not like that's not how it works, you know what I mean? Just yeah. So like moving forward and having more experiences with more people just made me like realize that like, okay, yeah, there is a give and take, there is a flow, you know what I mean, of giving and receiving. So yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think that the idea of understanding that something that you have to work on as a receiver, even as a bottom, is very important, because I think that just by nature, I even saw a meme like this, like literally this week, there was this two girls that was simulating stroke game on the bed, and the caption was, I'm so glad us women don't have to do anything but lay there. Like that literally was the caption on the video. And it is such a, I think it's kind of like this general knowledge or general understanding of what it's supposed to mean and what's supposed to look like when women decide to have sex with somebody. It's supposed to look like they just lay down, you know. And then there's so many tropes and videos and depictions of that happening, so there's no other ways that we're getting, you know, unless you're watching like a very active porn star, you know, you are even, but even still, like a lot of times, especially in older porn, I know it's kind of developed so much. But in older porn, for example,
Sorry.
exactly. So Diana was like, lame ass caption, very lame, and very misinformative too, you know, and that's why I definitely wanted to highlight what you just said in that way, because if you watch older porn, and a lot of porn that still is out there now, it does, even if you're showing a lot of like, um, voicing and loudness and theatrics and acting, it still doesn't show that much physical activity.
I'm
So
so
you're
sorry.
supposed to lay down
Give
and
me like 10
receive
seconds.
everything and then act like it feels so amazing when you're doing
Right.
that.
Hi.
That is
So
the
sorry.
disconnect, because the more loud and the more aroused and the more you feel good, it's probably because the more you're putting into it, the more active you're actually being. It's not this juxtaposed idea or imagery that you would probably see in porn. So I'm definitely grateful that you brought that up in particular.
Sorry, I my groceries literally came while you were talking, and I knew I wouldn't be rude to the lady.
It's okay.
Okay, no,
You're
I'm
like,
sorry.
just stay there at the door. Shut
I
up.
know she was like, I was like, damn, bitch, leave them.
I didn't even hear the knock, so that's good.
Yeah, she was being hard. And you didn't hear me. I was like, oh wait, hold on.
And I was like, me.
You know, like, yeah, you know.
As I was
No,
saying, when you lay down.
right. No, but you're absolutely right. And I think like having a lack of experience at the very beginning of my sexual journey really kind of like put that you know, that stigma in my head that that's what we're supposed to do. But it's very limiting to our experience, you know, because um I feel like there's enjoyment in us like also putting in work. You know what I mean? Well,
Mm-hmm.
of course there is. So like um it's just whack that like that's the way that we're perceived as just like laying there and chilling um and letting it happen kind of vibe. When did you find experience? Sorry, I was reading the comment.
Yeah. When did you find experience sex? I don't understand the question. If you can rewrite it or rephrase it, then we can answer it.
Pretty
But
please. Try it
yeah,
to start life.
I was just I was just hey. I was just mentioning this literally Sunday because I was one of the panelists, one of three women who was invited to speak as a panelist for the Pussy Power Tea Party presented by Burley Babes Union, who is head by one of my burlesque sisters. Her name is Blue Pearl. And
Wow.
we talked about all things vagina related. And it was really interesting because eventually as the evening went on, she asked me, okay, like you do a whole lot of things, you do burlesque, but you also speak, you have this podcast, you have sex talk, you do this, you do that, and
Mm-hmm.
how did you get some of the confidence to do some of these things, you know, and like what was it about your lifestyle that led you to do this? And I mentioned just understanding that my comfort is what is needed for my comfort is truth. Like my comfort is the only thing that I need in order for me to know how to do something right.
Right.
So if I believe that it's not my comfort, but it's my experience, it's how many people I have had sex with previously, it's how much I know about the bedroom, then I'm going to feel like the truth of what I'm doing has to be reliant on whoever it is that I'm doing it with. And that person might have had sex with five people more than me, but they might be just as inexperienced. They might not have decided to learn more about my body, learn more about their bodies. All they
Right.
know, maybe they watch a bunch of porn. So they watch porn and they have sex. And I'm like, well, maybe I should sit here and just let them guide me as opposed to being very, very, very strong in my comfort. And I realized that when I started to center my comfort above anything else, I didn't talk to anybody I was not comfortable with. I didn't have sex with anybody I was not comfortable with. I didn't kiss anybody I was not comfortable with. I started to have a very different sexual experience when I decided that my truth had nothing to do with how many people and who I did this and did that. Like, yeah, now I'm experienced. But when I decided to be like, okay, I'm only going to do this if I'm comfortable, if I feel like I can moan in front of this person, if I feel like I can
Yeah.
speak to this person about what I want, like if I'm not comfortable telling this person what I want, why am I doing this with this person? But that makes no sense to me, you know?
You're
And I
absolutely
think
right.
that like that has been a transition and a growth because I was not always that way in order for me to get to the point where I was having, you know, great sexual experiences. And I think that that is very important. Like, you don't have to trust the person that is the most experienced. You can just trust your comfort level with yourself and the comfort level that is shown and shows up when you are with this other person. And that is going to allow the best experience you have, regardless of the experiences both of you have had together or apart.
I love that. I love that. I think that's so dope. And a lot of people do tie like their their sexual experiences being better by having sex with more people or more times, you know what I mean? So I can definitely relate and understand that, and I really love what you said, because when people just when you're not comfortable with the person that you're with, like there's no way that the experience is gonna be better. You have to be able to open yourself up very literally, you know. And for women, it's just that, like, if you're not comfortable opening up to this person, you're gonna tense up. You're not gonna fully enjoy the sensation because you're either in your head about it, or you just like, you know, you just don't feel, you're not feeling it, you know. So and I mean, I know that experience well. So or like, even we actually spoke about this the other day, like when you don't trust someone anymore, how comfortable are you going to be with them sexually? You know what I mean? Like being in a relationship with someone and not really trusting what they say, you know, or like feeling like they're, you know, they're hiding something from you, etc. It's like, why would I want to have sex with you? You know what I mean? So like, people don't really, people think that like once you're in a relationship with someone, that sex is like a requirement, and it's really not. If you don't feel that comfort level, if you don't feel like that person is bringing you, if you don't feel safe with that person, you know what I mean, then why, like, how do you think the sex is going to go? That's you literally opening up your life force energy for them. So if I can't trust your word, why should I trust you with my body, you know? But yeah.
Yes.
I think he corrected his question too.
Yes. I
He
think
said, when did you lose your virginity? Oh, that's
you're like, oh, that's
okay. Yeah. Is he still in here? I gotta answer that.
Can we skip that?
Well, I mean, it's actually a really complicated answer for me, because like so many people have a weird concept around what sex actually is, and
even what virginity is.
Okay, and I would say, like, you are still in here. I would say my first like sexual experiences were with women mostly, or like I don't know, what are we counting as sex? Like, if you mean like vaginal entrance, I would say, yeah, my first sexual experiences would be like with women, and like actually like having like penis in vagina sex. I was like 23. So I was 23, but I had already had experiences with women probably since I was like, how old was I? Like 19-ish, I think. I definitely was like a late bloomer. I don't want to say I was scared, but I guess I was like nervous about like the idea of how it all was gonna go down and letting somebody in there. But y'all know that I do not take shit seriously. But yeah. So I mean, what do you think is like sex, Ayana? Like, what would you count as like like sex? Like, what would you say? I lost my virginity because this is what happened.
So I identified as bisexual for a very long time, and I do like hetero men, and I like women, and I like women to show up in all different sorts. I now identify as pansexual, which, for the simplest way that I describe it, is someone who likes any gender and any expression of any sort. So you don't have to be any way, present yourself in any way for me to be attracted to you. If I vibe with you, if I like the way you look, if you turn me on and you happen to be any gender or any expression, I have the ability to date you and to have sex with you and what have you. But growing up, I did believe you lost your virginity. I thought of the hymen as a piece of skin in the vagina, which is not. I thought of the losing of your virginity as you literally being penetrated with a penis, or you're still a virgin. And I think that idea was so why, I mean, people still believe that. So it's such a like a big idea, and it's such a widespread idea, and it's such a general knowledge idea that everybody really thinks like this for the most part, unless you're really educated about sex and understanding of sex. As I have grown, I have changed that idea for myself. Once I got into college, I realized that oral sex was sex. And I know it makes sense. Like, yeah, oral sex is sex. I'm like, yes, but we don't call it oral sex. We call it head. We call it, you know, this, we call it that. So I think using certain terminology to describe certain things also eliminates it from the idea of sex, or at least that's the way I'm seeing it now. And it took me to understand that all the forms of sex matter for it to categorize as sex. And if you did those things, then you technically lost your virginity. So I'm being technical. That was, I'm not even going to say no number, because I was a very explorative child. And I, you know, was kissing girls in preschool. Like I was always exploring with different, I was always exploring with like different genders. So, he said oral is not losing your virginity. It depends. And exactly. Thank you for saying in my opinion. Because I was going to say that is your opinion. Only because it is a form of sex. So it's like, what do you consider virginity? Having sex and losing your virginity, or having a particular type of sex, because that is different. And if that is the case, then why are you using that particular type of sex to make it your virginity? Like, why do you think that way? What gave you that idea? How many things have you been told in order for you to think that that is the highest form of what's the most value, or what's the most valid for someone to not have virginity anymore? And then what is virginity? Like, what is a hymen? Do you know what a hymen looks like? Do you know how the hymen works inside of the anatomy of the vagina? Like, you know, because you can ride a bike and break your hymen, you know? So did you lose your virginity with the bike? You know, so it's like, because there was blood. So it's like, it's how are you really describing these things, and how are you really breaking these things down? From the more, I guess, the most widely known idea of what sex is, with the penetration of a penis, that didn't happen for me until I was 21. And I wouldn't consider myself a late bloomer. I consider myself to do things age appropriate. And because I was age appropriate, I did that shit at 21. I was a very stern and like very militant child about who I wanted to do things with. There was always offers like, you sure you don't want to have sex? You sure you don't want to have sex? You sure you don't want to have sex? And I never felt pressured to have sex. Never. And I never felt pressured to have sex, because I was like, I'm going to do it when I thought I was going to do it when I got married, child. I don't know why I thought that. But I was like, I'm going to do it when I want to do it, and I'm not going to do it any moment before. And I just had a very strong pride about doing it when I wanted to, and doing it was my choice. And I had very strong pride with feeling like no one else was going to coerce me into doing this. I also was raised with the idea that if I had gotten pregnant too young, my life was going to be ruined. And, you know, people were too old too fast. And a lot of people, they never really lived out their childhood. They were always trying to be more grown than they actually were. And if they were 14, act like a 14-year-old. Don't act like a 24-year-old, because you're going to be 24 and then you're never going to be 14 again. So why don't you act 14 if you're never going to be 14 again? So with those indoctrinations in my mind, I just literally always just did things at what I considered the right pace. And I thought that not every law that exists is a true law for true reasons, but I thought that the age with you know, certain sexual content, or certain smoking, or certain drinking, I thought that those things were a reasonable age. So I just wanted to follow those rules and those laws, because those made sense to me. So it wasn't until like December of year 20, and then going into the year 21, that I started to have sex.
Right. Okay. No, same. I honestly can relate to a lot of what you were saying about just like being offered and not really feeling pressured, but like being like, nope, I'm good. Like, or just like, you know, having having that confidence that like you're gonna do it when you're ready. And I definitely was one of those people that was like, I'm good. Like I don't really see it as something that I need to rush to go and do, or like get rid of. You know what I mean? Because like everybody's like, oh, Virginia, and I'm just like, I didn't really see what the hubbub was all about.
Yes.
I wasn't really like pressed by that. I wasn't impressed by people having sex and like getting pregnant.
Yeah.
It wasn't that good for me. I was like, ooh, I'm good at
Yep,
that.
right. Never would have made it. Looking around like, couldn't be me.
It got to a point where like I was like, damn, like I'm of age. Like if I got pregnant, it really wouldn't be like it would be okay. Sometimes I've got to be like, damn, like if my friends are having a baby, I can't be like, oh shit, like what are you gonna do? I'm like, well, you actually are of age to go ahead and have a baby now. But I definitely was not like pressed by any of that shit and didn't want to have no children early. Like, so I can definitely resonate and agree with that. He asked if we would date a transgender, and then he asked, do we prefer men or women?
I would date a trans person because I'm pansexual. I would date anybody. So yes, I would date someone trans. And I never had a preference with men and women, but I would say the older I become, the more I have a preference for women.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like I feel like it's okay. So one time my friend was telling me about the statistic that say that a lot of queer women, they find that when they get to their mid-30s, even if they are attracted to men, they almost exclusively date women around that time. And I'm like, is it true? But I understand why, because I'm tired of this shit. I'm playing.
For real.
Yeah, I would say, like, I honestly don't really have a preference. I wouldn't be like, oh, you can just erase a whole gender and like I'll be good. I mean, I probably will be good, but it's not as if like I would want a whole gender to be erased, just based on my idea of preference. But I would say the older I become, the more I do want to explore more relationships with women, because I think that I haven't explored as many relationships with women as I have with men. Even in the non-traditional sense, because I'm a very non-traditional person. I've had a lot of non-traditional relationships with people and a lot of things that just look differently, like lovers that I had around the country or around the world. And it's just a lot of things that just don't look typical for most people. That has been my experience. But I even haven't had really crazy or out of the box experiences with women in those alternative ways. So I would really want to explore more of that personally.
That's very interesting that you say that, because I feel the same way, but on the flip side, like I've had a lot of like experiences with women and not so much with men. So as I get older, I'm kind of like gravitating toward like just exploring the balance of that, like seeing like, masculine and feminine energy at its finest. I'm really like opening up to that. Not to say that like that I'm like thoroughly enjoying it, but
don't get me wrong, it's disappointing, but
yeah, it's not fun out here. It's kind of ghetto, but I really am enjoying creating like relationships with men and like getting to know like that dynamic, getting comfortable in that dynamic, because I've rarely had that experience with men. I've had a lot of romantic experiences with women and untraditional relationships with women. And I really don't think I've ever been in a relationship with a man, like not an official one. Wow. So like, yeah, I know. So, I mean, I've had like untraditional things go down, but not really like
yeah, what you would consider like, this is my boyfriend, this is my long-term partner in any sense of the word, like.
Right. To name, but like just, through us kicking it every fucking day, for example. But I would say like I prefer different nuances of both. Like it's weird. So like there's something about there's something about like the way that men are just like, they're strong, their presence, you feel that, there's something about the presence of a man that I can appreciate. And then there's things about women like
Yes.
emotionally available, for example.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
it's just been easier to develop those relationships with women, and that's why I've had
Mhm.
more of those experiences with women. Because with men, I often get into situations where, you know, they're not very emotionally available, or, you know, I'm more emotionally available, whatever, and they're not willing to flow a certain way. Like if I see it flowing in a more like exclusive direction, like men don't really, they don't always like to acknowledge that, because I don't know, maybe it like dampers their freedom. I don't know what it is, but it's really been difficult to like get there with a man, and I found it so much easier to do with the women. I personally
Mhm.
wouldn't mind trying being like a third. I would love to be a third
Oh
one
my
time.
God.
That would be
I
fire.
okay. So one time we're like at the 30-minute mark too. Just wanted to give you some timing.
Okay.
So I told one of my friends, I was like, yo, I think I have like two scenarios that would be the best, three scenarios that would be the best case scenarios. Okay, the first scenario would be I'm a unicorn to a couple.
Yes.
Honestly, I attract a lot of couples. It's very, very weird. Hey Jazz, I attract a lot of couples. Like, and I also engage in I've engaged in like over 5 different threesomes. And
Yes.
I think it's because the couple union that I always connect with, I've always had heterosexual couples as well that I've done threesomes with. And I just know how to make that work. Like I'm really good at connecting with women. I'm really good at connecting with men, especially when those men are respecting of their women, are loving their women, are showcasing the utmost um just like love and care and nurture for their women. I'm really attracted to the way a man loves a woman. And I am very, very open to the way that they accept me in their bond of love. It's something that I truly, truly love. So it just works for me in those sexual experiences, which have been some of the best sexual experiences I've ever had. And I would die to be with a couple. Like I
Yo,
would
that shit sounds so
die
fire.
to be with a couple. That would be my best first case scenario. Second best case scenario would be well, I guess I wouldn't rank them, but just one of three, not in any particular order, would be me and a woman partner who was able to have a third as a male, but he was not our primary. We would be primaries together. And then the flip would be me and a male partner who that would be my primary. And then I would probably have a girlfriend personally. And if she was comfortable and attracted to men, then we would have a partner as a, triad. But I really, really love being a fucking unicorn, bro. Like that
Yes,
is my
that shit
shit. That is my shit. Okay.
that is fire. I would love to be the third. Like that, I just feel like, well, I feel like because I'm such a like a free spirited individual, it gives me like the freedom
Yes.
to like not really like, I mean, I can connect with them and still like be on my own in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like not in the sense that I would want to see other people at the same time or anything like that, but just like if I wanted to, like I could be able to communicate that without feeling like I'm cheating. You know what I mean? Um and I think it's just, I just love the dynamic of two women and one man.
Me too.
I love that.
I
think that'd
haven't
be so
tried like
fire.
3 women and I haven't tried 2 men. And I do
Oh,
want to try both of those things.
me too.
But I would say that the balance of me as a third with a woman and a man is something that I love. Like I absolutely love it. And whenever that man has a great relationship with that woman, I have a great relationship with the both of them in that sexual experience. It happens all the
Absolutely.
time. And every threesome that I've had has virtually been with different couples. Like I've probably had sex with the same couple maybe once or twice, but I've just had sex with different couples every time. And it's really that like man and woman connection that I love.
It's
And then
hot.
it's like they spoil me too, because they have a lot of love for each other, and they don't always have to give that love to me, because they could always give it to each other. But in special occasions, or even in like the frequent in which they want to kind of like navigate life right now, they can give me a lot of that energy, give me a lot of that love, and give me a lot of that attention. And I think that's probably why I like really value that type of relationship and really crave it as something that would be like my first choice.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's almost like having like two cheerleaders.
I know, it really is.
You know, like
I love you. No, I love you. Let's love her together. It's like,
yes, exactly. Like,
me.
yay, love me. Love me, bounce me around, toss me over, tell me I'm doing a good job.
Right.
Yes. Thank it.
I love it. So we have 20 minutes, so let me talk about your work. So with your sensuality, well, we haven't even spoke about sensuality. You probably have to do a part 2, girl. But
yeah, I love that.
How would you say that you integrate sexuality and sensuality into your work and art, if you think that you do?
Oh, for sure. I feel like I'm naturally sexy. It is what it is. So like just is what it is. No, but I feel like, you know, I have sex appeal that like sometimes I don't even realize that I'm giving off that energy, you know what I mean? But I do. So so I make it work for me. And with my art, like, I mean, I feel like one thing about me is I get fueled by like heartbreak for sure. So like, and I mean in all areas of my life, like when something really truly hurts me, I'm like go mode, you know? So I love like revenge is like my superpower. Not revenge, but you know, like the clapback, just being, yeah. So I can say the most recent example of that would be when I did my recent song. It's in the pin post if you go to my page. And my song was very like sexy, Afrobeat vibes, and of course the video was very wine it. You know what I mean? Of course we got Ayana as the star, and she gave like we gave sexy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I definitely use my sexuality as like a, I don't know, I guess sex sells, like a setting
like a driving
factor. Yeah.
force.
And shit, I have a great vessel. So like I love being naked, and I love like being sexy. I love dancing sexy. And so that just kind of bleeds into everything that I do anyway. Even like with my sea moss gel, like I create a lot of content around me as a brand. So with the sea moss gel, I have like a little clip of me like doing like a little dance to some Afrobeat songs. Love Afrobeat, so you already know it's sexy. But yeah, so like I was showing like the benefits of one of the flavors that I have for butterfly pea flower, and I feel like, you know, people watching me, and it's engaging them, obviously, because got a little body. And they're also, you know, reading up on what they can, you know, what they can do to improve their health. So I definitely use myself as a brand, and me being naturally sexy has like it just happens organically.
What would you say sex is?
Sexy is me. Now let me stop.
Definition Marley and J.
Right here, hello. Did you hear me in the dictionary? But I think sexy is seduction. It's being confident. So like looking at somebody with conviction, like I'm gonna eat you alive. Like, you know, that's I think that can be, in my mind, is very sexy. Looking at someone in the eyes, you know, is very sexy. And like, just I feel like moving music is sexy. So like Like slow movement, confidence, seduction, sexy. What do you think sexy is?
Confidence
I feel like,
plus seduction
right,
plus.
exactly.
I would say sexy. I will piggyback off of what you just said. I think it's confidence because you can be sexy in sweatpants and oversized sweater. And I feel like if it is separating how much of that appeal is connected to your body, it has to come from an energy source. It has to come from the way that you're pouring out. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that sexiness is really confidence because if you feel so when you talked about like slow movement, one reason why I love slow movement and I love like performing burlesque and I love integrating my Afro burlesque in my performances and in my shows is because I feel like I have more control because I'm doing slower movement. And the more control you have is the more confident you are. I think that
Yeah.
even when you think about things like nervousness and anxiety, you move fast when you're out of control and when you feel like you don't have a hold on something, someone, or yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
the more you calm down, the more you are soothing, the more you are relaxing, the more you flow, the more steady you are, is the more grounded you are. And the more grounded you are is the more strong you feel. And that translates into confidence. And I feel like that is the root of sexiness. The reason why y'all find me sexy is because I'm confident. Because you can look at someone who's gorgeous and you can fake confidence as well. And that can still come off as sexy. Someone who is wearing like a beautiful exposed dress who look real sexy and walking like she's owning the damn thing can feel very, very insecure. But there is going to be a thorough expression of confidence that you can easily catch that's not within someone when you find them in a space where they're supposed to be vulnerable and they're still not showing that same energy. Like it's all an
Mm.
exchange. It's all that expression. Like it's very easy to see someone on their off time and be like, "Oh, you're not really that bitch like you was acting like." And it's like that's never gonna happen for me because Ayana really is that bitch every day, all the time, no matter what.
Period.
But I own and work on and consistently build on my confidence in order for me to exude that sensuality and be
Hell
that
yeah.
sexy person.
That's right. That's right.
So that's what I believe sexy is.
Yes, only well motherfucking say.
Period.
Definitely. Affirming yourself is something that I learned can help a lot as far as like building your confidence
Mm-hmm.
and sexiness. And so I listen to a lot of
Yes, you do.
like
I
pleasant,
love that
yes,
about you.
I do. I do. I listen to a lot of affirmations. Shout out to Tony Jones. Like there's a pleasure meditation that I like to listen to, and it kind of just reminds me that like I'm worthy of like first good sex,
Mm.
second just like good relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that can make space for me to be vulnerable and feel safe being vulnerable.
Mm.
Um, so I think yeah, like being safe is sexy. Like safety is
Yes. Oh
sexy.
my God. Yes.
Emotional availability, that's sexy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Shit, knowledge is sexy. So
Yes.
just like affirming things like that, I think it definitely helps me stay confident and be sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, Tony Jones. Sorry, Jasmine bought a book. Love it.
Period.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Oh, so sensuality and sexuality is very sacred.
Mm.
So I think a lot of my creativity being kind of meshed with my sexiness is just like all that sacral chakra vibes. You know what I mean? It's like me like dancing, creating music, and being sexy is kind of like second nature to me because it's just I'm a creative person,
Mm-hmm.
and so that sacral chakra energy just being flowing, and I think that also helps me tap into my sexy.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Period. Yes, ma'am. We love to hear it. Yeah, I think that understanding that it is sacred energy is very important, because it does allow you to even have a more practical understanding of, okay, this is why not rushing through this makes me feel more grounded. This is
Mm-hmm.
why releasing nervous energy, releasing anxiety and energy or anxious energy is what's making me feel more grounded. And when I do that, it's more sacred. Nothing sacred is nervous. You know what I'm saying? Nothing
There you
sacred
go.
is like unsteady, or
Mm-hmm.
chaotic. It's like, I don't know about that. Like, I think that if it's sacred, it's automatically in the most serene, equilibrium,
It's
calm
peace.
state. It's peace.
Period.
Sacred space is peaceful. So
Yes.
um, it's all about finding that too. And when you are in that and in sex, that's when you have the best sexual experiences. And you're just like, it is peaceful as hell here. And it doesn't have to be quiet, it doesn't have to be non-primal, not to say
Mm-hmm.
absent of the moans and the screams, but it is to say that it is the most safe that you are, the most
Yeah.
equilibrium that you are,
That's like
because
tantric
it's sacred.
meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It's breathing together. I feel like I still really haven't had the opportunity to have like a very like tantric sexual experience with someone, which is really sad because I'm looking for that, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously like I know that that's not going to be able to exist with someone like with just anybody off the street.
Yes.
And I've really been taking my time to like build, if I do build sexual relationships with people, to try to really like get to know them deeper, or let them know that this is not like a mundane thing for me. And I don't expect to have a mundane connection with somebody that I'm fucking. You know what I'm saying? Like there's got to
Period.
be more there. Whether it's a strictly physical thing, which I mean I feel like it just doesn't, like it's not
It doesn't
realistic.
exist for
But
me.
exactly, you know. But like if it's just gonna be like a sexual relationship, I at least want it to be with somebody that I am friends with and that I do trust with my body and can be vulnerable with. We don't have to be exclusive. I can respect that, but I don't want it to be no bullshit. So
Mm-mm.
I'm too
Yeah.
sacred for that.
I love that you said, I want my next sexual experience, or I want my in-depth sexual experience with the person that I'm going to find in the future to do this with, to be my friend first. Because I think so often there is this disconnect or this idea of like, oh no, this is this person that I'm having sex with, and those are my friends. It was like,
Right.
okay, that's at that moment they knew they had done fucked up. Like that's the moment that fucks it up. Like that's the moment that fucks it up. I personally am where you are right now. Like the last person I was sexually exclusive with, which didn't last long because they weren't even able to put in enough time and energy to just communicate with me. Like that's it. It was long distance. That's the only thing we had, but they decided to not even give me the only thing we had. That like withholding, and like, because there's so many things that people do to have control, they do it in very immature ways. And I feel like that conviction to just control the only thing that's going to make you closer with someone is just a lack of maturity, and a lack of growth on the part of the person doing so. And I feel like it takes that person to your point, being emotionally available and emotionally open, and understanding that like I'm becoming your friend. Like I'm becoming
Right.
that's what I'm doing. Like if I talk to my friends when I need to catch up with them. I am not afraid to text my friends. I'm not like scared to ask them a question about sex. I'm not feeling or acting or being this way with my friends. So why am I being this way with you? Like that already to me is the biggest red flag and the biggest disconnect. Because if
Yes.
I cannot be like, okay, you're not treating me like Marley, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what we're doing here.
Facts.
And that has been my standard for the majority of my life, which is why a lot of relationships that I've had have been great relationships, whether they've been romantic relationships, whether they've been friendships, whether they've been family connections. Like I've had really great relationships, and that's why I always rant and rave about them. But I just always have a standard of friendship with whoever it is that I'm dealing with. And those things are not surface level. Those things are deep. So I am
Exactly.
going to have something deep with someone in the future that I'm going to be doing a lot of this tantric movement with, a lot of this sensual movement with, a lot of this connection with, because they are not going to be weak. They're going to be strong and in depth, because that's who I
That's
am.
right. Period.
That's what I do.
Period. They're a reflection of me.
At all times.
Okay. No, for real.
Here
That and I'm
first.
yeah, and I love it. Okay, heard it here first, y'all. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, I mean, like I love that you said that, because if if you can't be in depth with me on a certain, like, well, not, you can't be in depth on a surface level. If you can't be in depth in simple ways like communication, what makes you think I'm gonna let you deep inside me? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's not realistic.
Let's
It's
stare
not
into the souls
realistic.
of the
You
people
know?
on that one.
Exactly. Like, speaking of staring, like, how you gonna look me in the eyes, be inside me, and then you can't text me back?
You're right. Yo,
Come
honestly,
on.
like,
Hand on frontal.
bro,
Are you
like,
serious? One leg up and you can't text me back? I mean, fucked up.
you got a hit from the back, but you can't tell me
Like,
back.
come on.
Period.
Got the
No,
leg up.
I honestly, it was crazy. I think when I mean, we had a very similar idea of, okay, Guinea Bissau is Africa in the building, period. I think we had a very similar idea of our like introduction to sex, or even our like disdain from doing things where we decided to start having sex with people. So there's a level of like, oh no, I'm not really gonna do that with others that I think that we both share. But I think that even with that, there still was a shift for me where I started to understand and to see my body and to see my sexual life as something that was like so sacred. And before I used to be like, yeah, it's important. Like I know how important it is for me to not even have frivolous sex with people. Like I've never been that person, never had that whole phase. Like I never done anything like that, just because I was never able to put myself in that space where I had that openness with my body, where there really wasn't that much connection. Like I just never did that. So even though I still believe that, there was still a shift where I'm like, yo, it's really bizarre to think about. It's really bizarre to think that you literally can be inside my physical self and not FaceTime me on the weekends. Like it's very, I know there's so many people who just like, no, I can understand that. And I have gotten to the point where it makes no sense to me. Like I literally don't understand it. It mind boggles me. I don't get it. I have no tolerance for it. I am completely militant about it. If you cannot be my friend, you cannot be in my life. Eventually I will block you. Like there's like a certain point where I'm like,
Block. Block.
like you think we cool,
Right.
but you've already crossed a boundary in that I think it's like it's like we can't even go back on that, because you don't respect me, and it's obvious.
Okay.
You don't respect me, and I think that's what it comes down for. Like I have such a very strong, like very like elitist idea of what I consider my integrity to be, and I feel like I give that openly to everyone. Like I have integrity with you, period. Like I'm a very loyal person. Like even if I don't know you that well, if I feel like I told you something first and then someone else try to ask me a question, I'm like, oh, I gotta go back and ask this person who I don't know that well. But it's because like I said it to her first. Like I'm gonna feel like that. So I am like really mind boggled when people don't carry that same integrity. Like if you don't have integrity for me and my body, if you don't have integrity for us in our relationship, how do you
Mm-hmm.
expect me to do business with you? How do you expect me to hit you up and write some contracts with you? Like you have to have integrity in every single space, or I'm not fucking with you. Period.
Facts. Facts. Hell yeah. And you definitely not getting this booty.
Period. Oh, someone asked, how old are you? Would you like to say your age first, Marley?
I'm weak. I'm 30.
And
So
I'm
you know what I'm saying?
29.
Dirty 30, we outside.
Yeah,
92 gang.
I'm gonna be 30 next year, but it's coming.
Yes, we outside with it. So, you know, I'm young, I'm cute.
Period.
Black don't crack.
30.
Right, if my well-being
30.
isn't safe, it's a no. No, that's a fact though. Like,
Period.
feeling safe in every relationship is so important, but especially in a sacred. Yeah, Tommy, you know what I'm saying? Okay, y'all better fucking keep it coming. No, but if you don't feel safe in the most sacred way, why would I share that space with you? If I don't feel safe enough to, if I don't feel safe enough to hit you up and say, hey, how's your day going? Then, you know what I mean? Like, why would I open myself up in such a way to let you in like the deepest parts of me? Like, why would I exchange energy with somebody who isn't like me? You know, like, shit.
That's such a good
Okay,
one.
because I'm gonna
That's
love.
such a good
I
one.
love so unconditionally, and
Oh
I'm
my
such
God.
I'm a good person. I'm a nice person. I have a great spirit, and I'm a giver. And so why would I want someone to be this like that same way? It just doesn't make sense. Why would I open up and exchange energy with somebody that's not
Mm-hmm.
fucking with me like that? You know, that's not reflecting that same energy. So
Mm-hmm.
fuck out of here. We
Period.
only fucking with pure souls, okay? Keep the demons out of here. Yes, shout out to Naima. Slayed me.
Because that's what she
Fucking
does.
slayed.
Naima slays, okay? The nails and the drinks and the bottle service.
Yeah.
Go to
And the
Blackbird, get you
toes.
something in Miami, Miami only. Wow. I'm 29. I said it already.
And I'm 30. Like, get out of here.
I am still in my 20s, but that will change next year. But it's going to be such an amazing decade, bro.
Yeah. I embraced it.
I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. It's going to be lit. It's going to be lit.
Jasmine, you better not be talking about my toes. I'm weak.
Man. So it's not giving me a countdown yet,
It's not.
but I'd be afraid when they do. And then I don't want to cut off because sometimes they do that too.
Yeah, they be Instagram be fucking with
They
me especially. They don't fuck with me at all.
really do.
So
So
I like toes and mouth, guys. What do you like? Now I've actually never tried that, but I would love to.
never try what?
Oh, she said no, bitch. I was talking about the demons. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you're right. I just was hoping you wasn't talking about myself. I said I would love to try toes and mouth, not in my mouth.
What does that explain, my dear? What does
Like I've never had anybody suck my toes.
that?
I know. I
Wow.
know.
It's happened
It's
to me
so bad.
very, very, very few times, but I would say it's fucking amazing.
It's fucking cool, right? Everybody tells me that it's the shit.
It's
So like,
amazing. Oh my God. It's
so
amazing.
like,
One
where the
time I
toe
was
suck is
having
at?
one time I was having sex. I don't even know which acrobatic Cirque du
It
Soleil
was just up
he
in there.
decided. We were having sex and all of a sudden my toe was in his mouth and I'm like, as we're doing the act,
Like
it was amazing. It was amazing.
gonna do that?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, there was a stroke and then there was the suck together. It was incredible. Never had an experience like it before or after. So amazing. Loved it.
Yes, Pisces rule the feet. That's right.
Yes, yes, they do. And thank you, Chan.
I
I saw your comment earlier.
being
We already talked about threesomes. You're gonna have to watch the playback to get that threesome information.
period. Yeah, I think my feet are very sacred as well. Like I never had anybody really like love on my feet like that for real. But
Ooh,
yeah, I've always been like kind of like weird about it. But I'm opening up. I'm opening up. Let's see what happens. Go ahead, rub my feet.
I honestly, like, my dream is to find someone who I consider to be sexy as hell, who also has a foot fetish. That will work wonders for me. I am dying to find a foot fetish person. Because I have had people who I've known who have some type of foot fetish or whatever. I've never really developed any relationships with those people. But I want one. I want one because I love feet worshiping, and yeah, I haven't really ever had it either, and I would I would completely and totally do it in like the realm of like kink sex work or fetish sex work. Like I would totally do that. So yeah, I'm interested too, girl. We here.
Yeah. Where the feet fuck is at? Where the fuck is at?
Raise your hands.
Where y'all at? Share the live.
Right. Dead. Send this to your friends.
Send this to your toe-sucking friends, please.
Dead. Yes, bro. Okay, so we're gonna take, I would say, one more question before we wrap up, and then we can do a part 2 because I think that there's so many things that we did not talk about. So if you guys have any last questions, I feel like I know chances I pop up with one. Ask a question so that we can answer and bring this to a close. If there's no questions, then we are gonna go ahead and head out.
Head out. This was really great though, and I'm definitely looking forward to part 2.
Indeed.
I was a little nervous because I don't really like talk about sex openly that much, but you know, because people shame you about that shit. But this is so necessary, so fucking necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Take your chance. What did you guys already discuss? I don't want to be redundant. We'll just ask like, I don't know, 3 questions and one of them
we'll pick one.
You know, we'll pick one. We talked about threesomes. We talked about feeling comfortable, feeling safe in your relationship in order to have great sex. Yeah, what else
Thank you.
Did we
we talked about sex at work, like being sexual during work, or professionally. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really dig as deep. So part 2 we'll dig a little deeper in that. Mm-hmm. And because I would love to hear about you and your sex work. So yeah. What else? We talked about, I feel like there was so much that we said.
There was so much that was said.
Virginity.
Yeah, yes. The idea of virginity. Okay, so one question. Do y'all believe in open relationships? This will be the last question. Do you want to answer first?
Sure. I do think that open relationships are possible. And I think your next question is, or this next question is interesting. Do you respond better to a partner that is jealous and possessive than not? I think that kind of ties into open relationships. I feel like having an open relationship is not easy. So so you want to be with somebody, one, who isn't jealous and possessive. And I think I would respond better as I've grown and evolved to someone who isn't like that. But I have been in relationships with people who are like that. And I actually tried to open the relationship as a response to their, clearly because they were projecting jealousy and possessiveness because they were obviously like doing shit on the side. And I kind of had that feeling. And I think to try to like save the relationship, I decided to open it up. But I think what really, what I learned from that is that you can't have a successful relationship without trust, first of all. And like, there's no way that you can like put a Band-Aid on something, you know, and think that like, just because the relationship is open now that everything is fixed. If anything, to have an open relationship, you have to communicate even more. And you have to be like very like truthful and upfront about everything that's really going on, and discuss like boundaries and shit like that. And being with a jealous and possessive person has definitely taught me that like, if they're going to be like that, then it's not going to be successful regardless. Whether it's open, closed, it just doesn't work. So I've had quite the experience with that. And I think I would be willing to try an open relationship again if the person is mature enough to deal with that. Being jealous and possessive is not really a sign of maturity either. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was whack. I think one of the rules was if we're in an open relationship, they were lesbian and I'm bisexual, so they could date other women or, you know, have relationships with other women, relations with other women, but I could only date other women. I couldn't date men. I couldn't have sexual relationships with men. So that was that was interesting, and I feel like I would definitely not agree to that come my next, you know, opportunity for that. So yeah, festering wounds need to be addressed. Band-aid solutions just cover up and hold back. Yeah, I think that was a mistake, me trying to open up the relationship, thinking that would fix things when I should have just bounced, because I ended up getting like hurt in the process. Yeah, boo.
Boo, you whore.
Right, definitely was not feeling the vibes there, but yeah.
Yeah,
How about you?
for me, I definitely believe in open relationships. Um, I've never truly been in an open relationship where I had a committed partner that considered me maybe like their primary, or um, even like a stronghold in a partner of like a poly situation. So I've had different instances of a lot of openness in relationships. I've also had lovers I've been open with. I consider myself like the person that has had a lot of lovers in the past. So a couple of years ago, I had two different lovers in New York. I was seeing one, and when I met the other one, I didn't feel closed off to meeting him. So, you know, I met him, I was open to that. Once I started having sex with him, I told the other one, like, hey, I'm having sex with someone else, and I just want to let you know, whatever. And they're like, okay, cool. There was never like a woman who I wasn't like committed to who decided to tell me anything like that, because, you know, whatever you're doing is your business. And I was like, yeah, but I'm the type of person who I'm polyromantic mostly, and I'm less polysexual. And I can be polysexual. I can have sex with two people at one time, but that's really like my max of me feeling comfortable or feeling like all my needs are met. So
Mm-hmm.
once all my needs are met, I'm good off that, and I feel like whoever is meeting my needs, I need to talk to them and let them know how I feel and who else are meeting my needs. And that's just the way that I have always been. So I've always done stuff like that. So yes, I believe in open relationships. I believe that I'm very comfortable in an open relationship. I personally, like I said earlier, want to be a unicorn in an open relationship. I haven't really developed in my mind how it would go if I myself was the person who had someone who I then had a relationship with. I did mention that as like the best case scenario, but I actually don't really know how that would go, because I've only been the visitor in relationships. I've never been the person who had a relationship that someone came to visit. So I don't know what that would feel like. Um, I've challenged the thought because I was kind of scared of it, and I was like, wait, where's this coming from? Like, why am I scared of this? Like, why does this feel odd to me? And I think it just goes back to me never really having a traditional sense of a relationship. So I always thought that I never even had an example of what something steady with someone felt like, let alone something steady with someone and then someone else comes. Like, and I guess I gave myself like a little bit of anxiety when it comes to that. But now I'm pretty open and pretty understanding of, like, regardless of what my experiences outside of tradition looks like, they're still very valid, and they still have shown me a lot of what I know that I want and what can be like possible and valuable in my life in relationships.
Yes, yes. I actually didn't mention the successful polyamorous relationship that I was in 2016, and it was probably one of the most freeing relationships. I learned a lot. You have to check in with yourself a lot. I was not like the primary partner, I guess I could say. But it was good for me because I felt like so at ease in that relationship, and the communication was so like it was flowing really well, and we just we're still really good friends to this day. There's still kind of like a romantic energy there, but like, you know, there's so much respect and open communication, and I don't think that I've ever had a relationship go that smoothly before. So I was very grateful for that experience. A unicorn is a third, y'all, like a third person. So like there's a couple, and then you are the unicorn because you are number three. Like
Indeed, indeed. All right. So I think I'm going to wrap this up.
Yes.
I am so grateful that you jumped on.
Same.
I am definitely open to part two, so we're going to have to
Yes.
schedule that. Um, Thank you for agreeing to do this, especially because it's not something that you usually talk about. Although I know that you are very liberated, very open, and you definitely have like a different perspective in terms of most of the relationships that you have had in the past. And I definitely want to talk about that. Because I think a lot of the women I've spoken to probably have had more relationships with men, for example, but you have had it with women. And I think that that is like super cool, different perspective in terms of what your prospects are in the future with your relationships. And I love that you decided to come here and talk to me. So
Of course.
so
I
much.
always
Let
feel
us
like I learn from
know.
you.
Of course, let us know what you are working on, where they can find you, what things are coming up for you that they can support. Talk your
For sure. For sure. You could follow me on IG. I have my latest music video there, so I would say for y'all to like check that out. It's on all streaming platforms. Um, and yeah, like follow me. I'm probably gonna be performing somewhere soon. Hopefully, I'm not really sure, but I'm working on it. And I'm just grateful to be in this space and open up in a way that I normally don't.
Mhm.
So that I feel like I always do learn from you particularly. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, that shit pop. He's stupid. And I'm grateful to be in a space where I can like talk about something that I don't normally talk about with you, because you are somebody that I feel like I always can get the truth straight up, first of all, and second of all, like just you're just like super knowledgeable about stuff and confident, and you own your space. So this is definitely something I would look forward to coming back to.
You thanks. Yes,
I
I.
love you.
You know my thing is creating safe spaces for my girls and my guys.
Period.
And my
We better be safe.
we gonna be safe. We gonna be here. We gonna be safe. So I'm so happy that that translates in a way where people are just like, bro, even though I would be saying no to this in any other circumstance, I'm gonna say yes because it's you. And
I love you.
I love
Yay.
you
I love you
too.
so much. Tyler, all right. So for the last time, unicorn, guys. Unicorn. There's the couple, and then there's a third. Like that. You're the unicorn when you're the third, like that. Okay? So imagine the couple being your two eyes and the unicorn being the fun thing in the middle. See, I have one of these things that I guess in a past life I was a unicorn.
Dead. Just in case you didn't know, I am a
You know
unicorn
what I'm
by
saying?
birth.
I am a real life unicorn.
Period.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, I love you,
I love you
Ayana.
too. All right,
And I
bye
like all of y'all.
guys. Right. Bye, Jess.
Mm.
See y'all later. Oh, by the way, there is another sex talk in 2 weeks with Walshy Fire. He is
Oh, I love
one of
him.
the members of Major Lazer, Grammy Award winning, and he is a straight male and an older male as well. So I'm very excited to be talking about him. I'm talking to him on Sex Talk. He is going to be on October 11th, which is going to be a Tuesday at 8 p.m. I'll be posting the flyers in my story, and I'll be posting reminders on my page. So
I love
I'm
him.
I'm excited about it, and we gonna check in with more sex talk, and then subsequently the part twos will be after that. But y'all watch out for that. Coming up next.
Yay. Bye
All right, peace and
bye.
love. Bye
Peace.
guys.